Hello there, it's Alara here from Alara Varal Coaching. Good morning. So today I wanted to talk to you about how to love the shit out of what you do, even if it's not your one passion. Now the thing that triggered me to want to talk about this is because I saw a post in one of the groups I was in today, and in the post, it was actually a woman in her middle ages, and she was asking for advice around the fact that she had spent her whole career, whole working life, jumping from one job to another, jumping from one business idea to another, jumping from all these different things, and she thought, a couple of years ago, I thought I found it, and I studied counseling and consulting. And I ended up helping people overcome their trauma, and I thought that was my calling. And after 2 years of that, I was super drained, and I was and she ended up in this position that she is now, in this midlife crisis, lacking direction. And the reason why this brought up so much stuff for me, and the reason I'm making this video, is because this seems to be happening over and over and over again in different scenarios, and it probably is happening in your life right now. It comes up in so many different scenarios, from kids, from when they're choosing their GCSEs, to people that are graduating, choosing what jobs to go into, to people that are in their career that hate it, to people that want to start their own business but have no idea what to do it around, to people that have their own business that want to, but actually are feeling drained about it and want to allow it to be something that they love doing, right? It happens, this same theme is reoccurring across so many spectrums, and it boils down to this question being posed to us from a very young age of, what do you want to do? And we are asked this question in so many shapes and forms throughout our childhood, throughout our schooling, throughout our all the examinations. They're all wired in a way to ask us, what do you want to do when you grow up, right? And the problem with this is it boxes our thinking into a job title. We now are, the question that's being posed to us demands an answer that is a box of a job title. So the answer to a question, what do you want to do, is I want to be a teacher, I want to be this, I want to be I don't know, a cook, I want to be a therapist, and it's all job titles. And the problem with that is, once you're in the job, you kind of have to stick with it because that's what you want to do, right? So the people that this is relevant to over the whole spectrum affects people all along the whole spectrum, basically. Kevin's saying, should be what you want to do. Should be what you want to do, you want to be. I think you're trying to say what it should be what you want to be. I beg to differ. Keep on watching, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so what if we change the question to, what is the impact that I want to have on the world? If we change the question from a really young age to, what is the impact that I want to have on the world, then the answer that that question demands is, what are my core values? Who am I when I'm at my best? What kind of world do I want to see? And when you can answer questions like that, what happens is the what you do actually becomes an avenue in which you can carry out that impact that you want to have. The job title, the box, ends up being something that is a tool for you to be able to have that impact rather than the end goal. And the empowering thing about that is that it allows lots of different whats to be able to take you to that impact. If my impact that I want to have on the world, so Tony Robbins, his impact is to end all suffering in the world. Google, their impact is to organize all the information of the world. That is the impact that they want to have on the world. That means they can do that by Google Maps. They can do that by Google Play. They can do that by Google Search. They can do that by buying out YouTube. They have so many different whats that they do because their impact that they want to have on the world is clear. And when you get clear, when we actually change the question, what we're asking, the answer that demands allows us to have different whats. And the thing is, depending on the skills and the opportunities and the resources that we have available at the time, there are different avenues that will be the most effective way for you to be able to have that impact. So right now, when Google first started, the way that they had the impact that they wanted to have, which was organize all the information of the world, was with Google Search. So you could search anything. And then came Google Maps. And then they brought out YouTube. And then they did paying things, Google Pay, I think. So the different stages of your journey that you're at allows for different whats to be the most effective avenue for you to be able to have that impact. But you don't know what avenue to take if you don't know what the impact that you want to have on the world is. So I challenge you to change the question. If you want to love the shit out of what you do, change the question from what do I want to do, or what am I doing, what do I do? Change the question to what is the impact that I want to have on the world. And for that, to be able to do that, you're going to want to go back and think back to the time when you first made a decision about the direction to take your life in. It will be quite early on. When you first made the decision of which direction you're going to be taking your life in. So for me, I loved dance, I loved being outdoors, I love maths and physics, I love so many things. The moment that I made a decision on what direction I'm going to go in is when I chose which A-levels to do. And even after that, when I chose that I was going to study geology over dance at uni. So change the question, what is the impact that I want to have on the world? And go back to the time when you first decided what direction you're going to take your life in. And ask yourself, what was the influences upon me then? What was the influences upon me in that time that made me make that decision? Was it a fear-based decision, or was it an intuitive courage-based decision? It's going to be one of the two. Was it a fear-based decision, or was it an intuitive courage-based decision? Okay, and you can tell which decision it was by if at the time you felt this expanding feeling, which means it was a courage-based decision, or a contracting feeling, which means it was a fear-based decision. Okay. And when you go back to the time and understand which of those decisions, what the influences upon you were to make that decision, I want you to think back. What was it that made you feel alive then? What would you dream about? What impact would you dream about having on the world back then, before the time you made a decision to in which direction to take your life in? Okay, so now let's talk about what you actually do with this information when you get clear on the impact that you want to have on the world. Okay, so when you get clear on what is the impact that you want to have on the world, no matter where you are in your stage right now, if you're a business owner, if you're wanting to change your career, wherever you are in your stage right now, when you get clear on what the impact you want to have on the world is, there are a few options that you can do. It can just be a perspective change. If you're already doing something and you look at it with the perspective of this is the impact that I'm having on the world by doing this, that can sometimes be enough. It might mean an action change. So you're still doing the actual thing that you're doing is the same, but you take it in a slightly different direction with a slightly different focus. Or it might be a total change because the what you're doing right now is not an avenue at all that takes you to the impact that you want to have on the world. So it's one of those three things. So my client Ed, he is an interpreter translator. And when he came to me, he was feeling super drained, just like floating in a wind, and he was stuck in the past. right? Just always constantly thinking about his past achievements. And what actually ended up happening when he found his why, when he found this impact that he wanted to have on the world, he still continues doing the same thing, but he now describes his life as having the best years of his life. So he's got a relationship, a beautiful relationship. He hasn't been in one for a while. He is loving the work that he's doing, and he has so much work that he's now picking and choosing between which clients he wants to work with. So that is the difference between when you find your why and you change your perspective on the direction that you're going on, the direction that you're going into. So if you have made it this far in the video, you are doing great. And this is, now we're entering the second half of this topic of how to love the shit out of what you do. So the first part is change the question that you're asking from what do I want to do or what am I doing to what is the impact that I want to have on the world. Now the second part is for you to be able to actually perform, for you to be able to actually bring your best self to whatever you're doing, okay? And there is 2 reasons why you aren't able to bring your best self to what you're doing. So let's say, so we've covered the part 1, change a question of what impact do I want to have. So part 2 is about what is stopping me from being the best version of myself that I can possibly be. Most of us live in the past. Like Ed that I was telling you in the example earlier, most of us live in the past, and we think about it might be past trauma, it might be past experiences, it might be influential people in our past, but people in our past, what they do is people or events in our past, what they do is they set a certain set of beliefs for us, and some of them are great, but some of them are limiting, and that's when we're living in the past. When we're living in the past, with the mindset of the past, but we're actually navigating ourselves around today, in the present, with the mindset of the past, that's when it gets limiting. So I want you to write down, right now, get a pen and paper, and I want you to write down, what is your belief around success? What is success? So write that down. What is your belief around success? What does success mean to you? Okay, and if you're watching this video, just pause it. If you're watching a replay, pause it and just write that down right now. Okay, so what is your belief around your purpose? What does your purpose mean to you? Okay, what is your belief around love? Write that down. Okay. And what is your belief around money? Whatever beliefs come up, write them all down. There'll be sentences and just write them all down. You cannot know where to get to. You can't get to where you want to get to and design your dream life and love the shit out of what you do without getting clear on where you are right now, what the beliefs that you're navigating your life by are right now. Okay. So now that you're clear on what your beliefs are, ask each and every one of them, is this belief useful? And is this belief true? And this is going to help you bring the awareness to what beliefs are holding me back right now. Where am I staying in the past? And for you to be able to bring the best version of yourself to what you do every single day, you're going to need to start to change these beliefs by healing the perception that you have of the past. So ask, is this belief helpful? And is this belief true? Identify the ones that are limiting beliefs for you. So if you have the answer no to either one of those questions, that belief is limiting for you. So you're going to need to flag that one. Okay. So the last element of for you to be able to bring the best version of yourself to what you do so that you love the shit out of it is for you to have the tools to be able to snap into the best version of yourself every single day. What we think on a regular basis, what we think every day, affects how we feel. What we feel affects our physiological state, and what our body language, how we physically bring ourselves to the day, and how we physically bring ourselves to the day affects the actions that we take. What actions we take. If you're feeling sluggish and you don't want to do anything, you're not going to be taking any productive action. So your physiology directly affects the actions that you take in that day. And the actions that you take in that day affect the reality that you have. And guess what? It's a loop. The reality that you have feeds back in to the thoughts that you think on a daily basis. So it's a self-fulfilling cycle. So if you start your day off with a negative thought, with a negative emotion, with a slumpy physiology, it's directly going to be affecting your reality, and your mental state looks at your reality, and that's where it gets its next thoughts from. So you need to be able to snap your mental state, your emotional state, and your physiological state into an energized place. So if you have got this far in the video, then what I want you to do is I want you to write down one way that you can stabilize your emotions every day. So that might be through meditation, that might be through spending some time in nature, that might be sitting in silence with yourself, that might be journaling. Find a way, write one way that you can emotionally stabilize yourself every day. Write one way that you can mentally feed yourself the thoughts that you want to be having on a day-to-day basis, empowering thoughts that you want to be having on a day-to-day basis. So that might be something, that might be affirmations, that might be putting on a song that you love listening to when you're dreaming. That might be listening to a motivational video of a mentor. That might be reading a book that gives you the empowering thoughts that you need to. One way, write down one way that you can give your mind, feed your mind the thoughts that you want it to think on a daily basis. And third, write down one way that when you do that thing, you feel physically energized, alive. And I'm not talking just about exercise, do any exercise. I'm talking about moving your body in a way that makes you feel alive. So, to recap, first of all, to love the shit out of what you do, you need to start asking a different question. Not what do I want to do, or not what am I doing, but what is the impact that I want to have on the world? And then you need to be able to bring the best version of yourself possible every day. And to be able to do that, you need to get yourself out of the past. So identify the limiting beliefs that you have and find a way of emotionally stabilizing yourself, mentally nourishing yourself, and physically energizing yourself on a day-to-day basis. So I would highly recommend that you actually make notes of everything that we covered in this video, because there is quite a lot that we covered. If you take action on this, you will start to see results. If you don't, and if you just leave it, then nothing's going to happen. If you leave it in the theory, it just adds to the pile of junk of information, the information junk that everything seems to go to when you don't take action on it. So today at 4:15 p.m. I'm actually going to be talking more about this, going into much more depth about this topic with Anke Herman. And Anke Herman is a business coach who specifically works with people that want to build a business around their passion. So what I do is I help people that feel drained find what that thing is for them. I help them find the impact that they want to have on the world, and Anke helps them turn it into a business. So it's going to be a really interesting dynamic that we have when we're talking with her, because we're going to be tackling the same problem from different angles. So that's at 4:15 p.m. UK time. So Google it, convert it to your time. I really hope this has been helpful for you. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if you can join us at 4:15 p.m. today with Anke Herman. It's a live interview, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you there.